Hi, I'm Pratyush Pandey. I secured the 21st rank in the civil services exam this year, and I'm going to talk to you about the exam and among other things in general. So I'll tell you two things about myself. I did my undergrad from IIT Kanpur and graduated in 2017. And after that, I did an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and passed out in 2019, the year in which I gave this exam. This was my first attempt. And the second thing is that I've never seen a topper's talk before, and this is the first one I'm ever giving. So bear with me if this doesn't follow your usual model of a talk. I'll break over here for 1 minute. I'm a B school grad or framework lagai bina, so I can't give any talk at all. So I'll show you one framework which might help you. These are two axes. One is important and one is for urgent. There's a difference between these two words. Urgent is anything which you have a time limit, which is approach. You have a deadline and you need to meet that. So I got a bill that I have to pay for my phone by this weekend. So ये urgent में आएगा. But it's not that important to me because even if I miss it, 10-15 रुपए का extra fine लग जाएगा. This will come over here. It's urgent, but it's not important. Important is whatever you want to, which you consider valuable in your life. Hopefully, if you're preparing for this exam, you take it seriously and it will be important for you. And since prelims are coming soon, it's both important and urgent. ये इस quadrant में आ जाएगा. There are other things that are important, but they're not urgent. You might have a lot of friends who you haven't seen in a long time because you've been busy studying. They're not urgent, but they're still important for you. They'll come over here. And then finally, we come to the last quadrant. These are things which are neither urgent nor important. So अगर मुझे गोलगप्पे खाने का मन कर गया फिर, that is over here. कोई deadline नहीं है, and it's not very vital that मुझे खाना ही खाना है, नहीं तो the heavens will fall. ये यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. This is why I'm not going to be talking about myself at all in this talk, because I think it comes in this quadrant, neither urgent nor important. I didn't watch any topper's talk because frankly, I don't want to know the story of how someone cracked the exam. I want to know what I need to do to clear this exam. And I believe that you should make your own story instead of asking me to share my story, because it's not going to help you, at least not if you really want to clear the civil services exam. In general, in this exam and in anything else, try not to spend your time on things that are neither urgent nor important. You'll find that it helps you achieve far more, not just for the exam, but in life in general. Still, मैंने एक चीज़ तो बताई थी that I've done IIT and IIM, and now I've done IAS. So, in a sense, I'm an exam warrior. तीनों exams, you can say, पहली बार में crack कर दिया. And the reason I'm telling you this is that बहुत सारे लोगों को have this conception that it's only IIT, IIM, fancy colleges, people who can clear the civil services exam. So I'm sure there are two kinds of people who are preparing. Those who are from a fancy college and those who believe they're not from a great college, and perhaps they think that they're not going to clear this exam because of that. So पहले I'll talk to the people who are from good colleges. So तुम लोग तो यार अपनी असलियत तो जानोगे that clearing one exam doesn't mean you're great. Whatever the outside world thinks of us, you know the reality of how good you really are, you know that yourself. And if you think that your degree is going to help you in this exam, then you'll find out the hard way that it isn't true at all. I had to work very hard to clear this exam on my first attempt, even though I had all these nice fancy tags in my resume. And for the people who aren't from good colleges, if you really think that only those from top IITs, IIMs clear this exam, you should never have given it. If you're giving this exam, then you think you can't clear it, then you're wasting your time. The truth is that it doesn't care what college you have, what degree you have in your resume, doesn't care which college you joined. It's just about what you write in those hours, how you do in that interview. That's all that you really need to know. So whatever your background is, don't take it lightly. Don't think that just because you don't have a great background, you're not going to make it. Don't think that you have a great background, so you're going to clear it. It doesn't work that way at all. So I'll divide this talk into 3 categories. First, I'll just talk about in general, a few things that will help you, not just in this exam, but in anything that you do. Uske baad, I'll give you a few strategies, basically a top-down helicopter view of this exam, which I hope that you already know. And finally, I'll tell you a few techniques, which if you're preparing, you'll find that they will add value to your answers and help you get those extra marks. I'll give you 2 pieces of advice. The first advice is that you have to use your own brain. भगवान ने एक दिमाग दिया है तो use करने के लिए दिया है. There's a saying by Abraham Lincoln, give me 6 hours to chop a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. That is what you need to do in this exam. I can give you a cute little timetable, a nice book list. I can give you everything. I promise you, if I give you that, and if you follow it, you're not going to clear this exam. Because the simple reason is that my schedule works for me, it's not going to work for you. You need to find it out your own way. You're spending at least a few years of your life in this exam. You can spend a few weeks to actually know what you're getting into. If you don't, you're going to find you're wasting years and years and you're not going to get any result. There's no substitute for doing your own thinking, using your own brain. I'm not going to give you any book list, any of these timetables, because I never took anyone's timetable. And if you really want that, there are millions of links online. And if you could find that out easily, you don't need me to come here and give you one. There's nothing new that I'm actually telling you. Everything is online. You can clear this exam without leaving your room if you really want to. That doesn't mean you should. If you feel you need coaching, then you should join it. You shouldn't join it or not join it because someone like me is telling you to do something. Apna dimag lagane ke liye, there is no substitute. And if you just rely on someone else, you're not going to clear this exam. I've seen so many people waste so many years of their life just because they can't spend a few days thinking and learning what they're really doing. Don't go blindly into this exam or you'll lose years of your life. There's no point wasting your life if you don't have to do that. The second thing I'll tell you is try not to be boring. The best way to be boring is to try to be someone you're not and to take yourself seriously all the time. I've seen it so many times. When you get into a good college, you become an IIT or an IIM grad, you suppose some people just become this polished, sort of stiff, serious and knowledgeable people, always standing upright. There's this preconceived notion that people of this category are always like this. When you're giving a presentation, you need to be stiff and formal, standing upright and casting stern glances at people. When you get into IAS, you need to be this dominating, sort of serious guy all the time. If you're boring, you'll never have fun, that's obvious, but it's not going to help you in this exam and in life in general. The reason is simple, that in this exam and most of your life, when you deal with people, you're selling. If you sell, you need to have something that stands out. 100 people are going to come here, and if they all talk to you in the same way, you're going to forget me in one day. You're not going to remember me at all. If you're watching this online, I have to hold your attention. There's so many things you could be doing. There are a billion videos you could be watching. You might be having distractions in your background, and I have to hold your attention against all of that. If I am boring, you'll just shut this video in 1 minute. I'll never get anyone to watch the full thing. Now, you might wonder, why am I telling you this in a civil services exam? The truth is that this is a subjective exam. It's not objective, especially mains and interview. Wahan pe, the examiner is not checking your paper because it's fun for him and because it's something he wants to do. He has 100 or thousands of papers to correct, and you're just one of them. The interview board is not interviewing you because It's like they do it for fun. It's something that gives them kicks. That is not the case. They have 12 or 14 people to interview every day. Multiply that by 5 a week. That's 60 to 70 people. Do that over 3 months. Each board must be seeing 600-700 people. You're just one face for them. They're not going to remember you at all if you think that every candidate has to have the same strong handshake, same pulling your chair back, sitting, saying good morning in the same little bow. That you're just going to be one among the 100. It's not a factory product that is a standard mold you have to conform to. You have to make the examiner want to check your answers. You write boring essays, you'll get a few marks. You won't get anything outstanding. You write dull answers, again, you'll get some marks, but you probably won't get the service you want. You're still selling over here, you're selling your answers. You need to draw the guy's attention and make him want to read your answers, make him think that there's something in your answers that deserves a few extra marks compared to your other competitors. The same goes for the interview. You need to have something in you that at least makes you a little different from other people. If you think that you can just fake it one day, go there in the same style that everyone else does, you'll again get the same mark that everyone else does. It's for these reasons that if you try to be boring, you'll also end up getting boring marks only. Again, for this, it goes back to what I told you earlier. You need to think for yourself. Don't blindly follow what I am telling you, what anyone tells you. Just because I got a rank doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that what I'm telling you is the holy grail, that you have to follow it. Always use your own logic, your own sense. If it doesn't work for you, discard it. There's no reason why you should reject what's working for you to listen to something which I'm telling you. Now, I'll tell you a few things about this exam, a top-down, broad view. If you're preparing, you hopefully know already what this exam looks like. This is where you begin from. This is prelims, this is the mains, this is the interview. You start from this point. This is prelims. If you spend all your time studying prelims, this is what will happen. You land here. Mains, you'll never clear. Interview, you'll never reach. And you'll never get the service you want. You need to go like this. You need to know how much time you're giving to each stage. You don't need to top prelims. You just need to get there by enough margin that you can actually focus on what matters and what gets you into that list. Again, this is why I'm not giving you a timetable, because I don't know who you are. I don't know how good you are. I don't know which chapters, which subjects you struggle on. I can't tell you what to focus on, how many hours a day you should study GS1, GS2, GS3. There's nothing. If you listen to me, you'll probably never make it, because I'll give you something that works for me and will not work for you. I'll tell you two numbers which I hope everyone knows already. If you don't know, then these numbers should be in your mind all the time. They're 7.2 and 10.8. These are the numbers that you have to keep in your mind at all times. This is a 10 marker. This is a 15 marker in mains. How you get there is simple. You have 250 marks to attempt and you have 180 minutes. It's simple, 250 marks in 180 minutes. For one mark, you have 180 by 250. Multiply that by 10 and you end up with 7.2. When you write, so why am I telling you this? It's because, again, one more diagram to explain it even simple. Every exam, every GS paper you give are 20 hoops. Every question is a hoop. You need to jump through it. There are 20 hoops. You need to jump through all of them. It doesn't matter if one of your jumps is bad. If you leave a question, you're going to lose more marks than you can afford to leave. हर हालत में 20 में से 20 questions you attempt, even if they're not good. Don't think that one question deserves 10 minutes when it only deserves 7.2 minutes. 1-2 minute का हो जाता है, that doesn't matter, but if you're giving more than 7 minutes to every question continuously, you're going to not have enough time for the last hoop. That's one mains paper. Mains itself is a series of 4 hoops. In fact, more. There's essay and there are 2 optionals. You have 7 hoops to jump through. एक jump बेकार गया doesn't mean you're out. One jump is very good, it also doesn't mean you're in. The point is 7 jumps you have to make, they have to be decent jumps. They don't have to be, all don't have to be amazing jumps, but all can't be horrible jumps either. The point is you just have to get through from here to here. If one of your papers goes bad, it doesn't mean that you start worrying about it, you just focus on the others. It's important that you realize that there's seven jumps, not one jump, which is why you can't spend all your time on one jump. Each jump isn't as important as the others. Some optionals require more effort, but they give you more boost as well. So you, again, that's why I'm not going to tell you how much time to give to each paper. Ye cheeze you need to figure out for yourself depending on how good you are in one subject, depending on how much time you need for another if it's your weak point. Then we come to the interview. It's the, so to say, last stage. If you've ever given a job interview, if you've ever gone on a date or any of these situations where you're meeting someone for a very short period of time for the very first time, you'll notice something ki the face a lot of people put on that occasion is not their face. The best place probably to see this is a B school. Like, जो दोस्त you know for many years, बहुत सालों से जानोगे, लेकिन उसके साथ एक इंटरव्यू या ग्रुप डिस्कशन में बैठना पहचान ही नहीं पाओगे क्योंकि his whole character transforms. It works for some people, it doesn't work for others. If you think that you consistently give bad interviews, then maybe you need to evaluate what you're doing. Are you trying to present an image of someone you're not? Because that ultimately is what a lot of interviews are. You try to be someone you think others want you to be, and you never know they really preferred how you actually were. Anyways, the point is कि हमारा best foot forward जाता है interview में. Why not instead just be the guy you are on interviews, on dates all the time? You don't have to present a fake image. Why not just be that person you pretend to be? What's stopping you from doing it the rest of the time? You won't have to fake it. It'll be natural to you. It'll help you for this interview, and I think it'll help you in general. And finally, if there are 3 stages: prelims, mains, interview. Again, it comes down to using your brain, especially if you've given this exam before and you've not cleared it. Doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result is insanity. Don't just get stuck in a rut and keep giving attempts without even thinking what you're doing. Look at your scorecard, it's always telling you something. कौन से paper में खराब जा रहा है, focus on that. Don't just think कि अगली बार it'll automatically get better. Why do you want to waste 1 year of your life? A year is a long time, and I see so many people unnecessarily wasting their youth when they didn't need to do that. Just think again, sharpen your axe before you actually stop, before you actually cut a tree. Just always, when you go to war, if you go to battle without knowing anything about your opponent, you're not going to come back. This is a war again. You need to know what you're getting into and then make your strategy accordingly. Just keeping on running forward is for sure going to waste years of your life. It's a maze, you need to find the best way forward. I'll talk about a few specifics particular to this exam, but before that, I'll just mention a bit about Forum IAS MGP test series, which I took. अब लगेगा कि I've come here to advertise, but the truth is I don't give praise when I think it isn't merited. And I almost never give unqualified praise. There's always अच्छा होता है और कुछ खराब होता है, but I can honestly say that in MGP test series, I didn't have any complaints at all. I'll tell you small stories. This was when I was It happens a lot. It probably happened to you. When I was in Kanpur and उस ज़माने Uber Ola का होता ही नहीं था. It was hardly taking off anywhere. So we used to have to book a taxi or auto in advance. And this is true everywhere. होता क्या था कि like 10 बजे की ट्रेन है, 9 बजे चाहिए, 8:50 को बोला and he said हाँ हाँ सब 5 मिनट में आ रहा हूँ. 9:15 को he still saying हाँ बस 2 मिनट पहुँचने वाला हूँ. Professionalism is very rare. It's true that it's very hard to come by. I didn't have any complaint in that regard. I did not expect it, but I was actually very impressed by the efficiency and the speed with which my test series was evaluated. I didn't want to go physically every time and give a paper and come and check it. I wanted freedom कि जब चाहूँ I can give a paper sitting at home. I am not constrained कि इसी time देना है. I am not constrained कि यही subject आज पढ़ना है और उसका paper आज देना है. I wanted to study on my own schedule. I wanted to give a paper when I could, and honestly I didn't want to make the effort of going there and coming there and giving a paper and taking the paper back. And in this, Forum IAS was impeccable, literally impeccable. So I would upload my answer sheet, I would get a confirmation upload हो गया है, simple PDF पे scan किया, डाल दिया, no effort. अपने आप I think 3 या 4 दिन वो usually उससे भी पहले आ जाता था कि you get a mail, your answer sheet is checked. कोई बार बार फ़ोन करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है कि कहाँ है चेक कर दो, nothing like that. अपने आप आ जाता था. And the feedback was very useful. I'm not even making this up. I joined this test series in the middle of July, prelims के result आने के बाद. The truth is कि prelims I was somewhere near the border. I obviously cleared it, so I made it, but I was not getting a huge score, and I पैसे waste नहीं करना चाहता था कि enroll कर दूँ और पता चले ना हो. So I joined late, but I could give the papers whenever I wanted, which is exactly what I was looking for. And let me tell you, when I joined, this was July, the mains was in September, my answers were terrible. I had no clue how to write. Answer writing is what's going to get you through this exam, and answer writing is something that you can't read online. I can tell you a few things to improve your answer, लेकिन खुद से नहीं करोगे, you are not going to learn. It's बोलना तो आसान है, लेकिन जब तक लिखोगे नहीं, जब तक अपने copies खुद नहीं देखोगे, feedback के साथ, you won't know how to structure your answers. And structuring, let me tell you, is the most important thing. क्योंकि content सबके पास है, and content is not going to get you through because it's about selling. You need to learn to sell your answers to the examiner to make it easy for him to look at your answers. The thing is, you can't just think कि हाँ test series में enroll हो गया because I told you it's a great test series, अब enroll हो गया, अब हो जाएगा. That's not how it works. You still need to use your own brain. There's no substitute for using your own brain. If anyone tells you that he can or she can get you through, guaranteed run away from that person because it's definitely not going to happen. You need to know कि कैसे use करना है test series. And for this, I'll tell you what I did. If you like doing that, if it helps you, do it. If you have something that's already working well for you, ignore it. I would give 1 or maybe 2 papers. So let's say GS1, GS2. साथ में because एक करके देता, so I would not have enough time because I told you I joined a little late. 3-4 दिन में आ जाता था answer sheet. And my first papers, they were pathetic, I think. Answers were good, content सब कुछ था, but I had no clue how to structure. I would get the feedback. एक Excel में I wrote कितने marks आए, उस Excel में साथ में I wrote कि क्या comments थे, and comments that I got from Forum IAS were excellent. It was एक तो हर आंसर का इस आंसर में अच्छा क्या था, खराब क्या था, what could I have done to make it better, वो 20 के 20 क्वेश्चन में मिल जाता था. उसके अलावा an overall कि पूरा ट्रेंड कैसा चल रहा है, what can you do to become better. That is ultimately the whole point of the test series. Test series point is not कि बस दे दिया, देखा कि रैंक कितना आया, कितने मार्क्स आ रहे, हो गया. The point is कि see your first paper, give 1 paper, give 1 GS1, maybe 1 GS1, 1 GS2. You'll get feedback. That you have to use your brain again see that feedback ki hai kya, what do I need to change. The whole point is making changes. It's not giving papers and getting ranks, and it's not even कि देखा कि गलत क्या था, रट लिया कि ये क्वेश्चन में ये नहीं आता था. It's not about content, because जो questions mains में आते हैं, you don't find them in test series. They are different. Test series is about learning to write. It's not about mugging the answers जो आ रहे so that you can just hope कि वही question दोबारा आ जाए. So the marks will go like this. पहले में it doesn't matter, you might not always improve, but there should be, sometimes it can go down, sometimes it will go up. The point is कि you need to learn what you're doing wrong and make changes the next time. हर बार वही गलती कर रहे हो, so then there's no point of the test series, you might as well not have taken it. That's why I'll say give 1 or 2 tests, wait a few days, keep revising. You have a lot to do because you're studying for mains, you're not free exactly. Wait for the feedback, spend a couple of hours, 3-4 hours going through the test. There'll be some questions जो you should have known, लेकिन that topic maybe you hadn't prepared, या वो specific question छूट गया था. उस case में look at the answer, look at the content, add it to your notes or whatever, but make sure you have that content. बाकी के लिए see the feedback and write it in a very brief place, in your laptop, in your notebook. Write it in a nutshell ki this is what I'm doing, this is what I need to do, and make sure ki next time 3-4 days ho gaye, you got the copy, you've seen it, next test you do, don't repeat that mistake. You will get something else now. Look at that. This is true for essay, this is true for GS, it's true for any paper you give. You need to keep getting better. If you stagnate, then then again you've wasted your money on a test series. I'll talk about a few things for this exam in specific. Let's talk about prelims. So frankly, I'm not the best person to give advice on prelims. I cleared it, but I didn't get a top grade score or something, and truth be told, I wasn't trying to get a great score. I started in preparing for prelims specifically in March because I knew that prelims se rank nahi banta hai, just to clear it. You don't want to make a jump that you clear prelims by a huge margin or reh jata hai. The thing is ki prelims is fact based, and it's not easy to always know that, to be able to guarantee that you'll always clear it, because it comes down to a large portion of luck and your presence of mind on that day. कुछ facts होंगे जो guess ही नहीं कर पाओगे. Like there's a question on Tansen, you can guess that one, but there are some questions जहाँ तुक्का लगाओगे, उस दिन तुक्के गलत होंगे. मेरे उस दिन काफी सारे तुक्के गलत हुए थे, but I made it through because I attempt a lot of questions. I leave very few, and I found that to be my strategy to clear prelims. Ki accuracy, I knew for sure 20, maybe, I don't think even 30 questions for sure. You have to, and if that works for you, if you attempt a few and you're very sure of your accuracy, then if it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't, maybe you should try attempting more like I did. There are 2 marks for the right answer, 2 by 3 marks deducted if you get a wrong answer. So agar 4 tukke lagaye, you get 3 wrong, you get 1 right, it balances out. Or usually tukka is not going to be blind. If you can eliminate 1 option, I would say go for it. If you can eliminate 2, then you definitely should go for that question. You need to clear prelims, so you need to study, but if you only focus on clearing prelims, there's no point. You'll just fall at the next stage. I'll talk about mains and interview more because I think that I did better there relative to prelims, and wahan pe I can give you a few better tips. There are 3 words that you need to know when you're writing answers. It's always breadth over depth. You have a cube, uske volume fix ho sakta hai. Let's assume ki height same hai, length or breadth hi hota hai. Try as much width as you can, as little depth as you can. You need to cover a wide variety of points. You don't have a lot of space and you have even less time. You don't have enough time to think there. go for more dimensions in every answer. For example, there's a question on how can biotechnology help in this year's GS3, I think. The question is how can biotechnology help? But don't just start writing biotechnology के क्या uses होते हैं, because it's a 250 marker, and 250 markers are, जब तुम लिखोगे you see it's very big, बहुत content होता है. Start off with something like defining, like introduce your subject. What has India done in biotechnology? Is there a scheme, or even a simple definition of biotechnology if you can't think of anything? You don't have time to think of anything. You need to write what comes to your mind first. Then talk about advantages. Talk about challenges. R&D nahi hai, funding is an issue. There are concerns about side effects when you use it in certain niche fields. Again, don't write paragraphs about one point. More points, even if their average points are better than a few grade points, you need to get as many points as you can. Look at past year toppers' answer sheets. I refer to the 2017 topper, Anudeep Duri Shetty's answers. You will see his points, frankly, are not very brilliant points, but they're a lot of points and they're written very concisely, and it takes skill to learn how to write like that. When I started, मेरा ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था. Use shorter, tighter sentences, get more points, because you need more. If you leave a lot of space, or if you write the same thing in different ways, you will not get a lot of marks. So in this question, you would not just say biotechnology की ये advantages है. You introduce what is biotechnology or what has India done there. A small introduction. Then you'll talk about a few advantages, but you'll also talk about a few challenges. You'll also talk about a few achievements, and you can also talk about what should be the way forward. You have 4 subheadings, and that's, I think, enough for 250 words. So the point is, break your answer, structure it like an introduction. Then you talk about advantages. You can talk about economic advantages. You can talk about social, it'll uplift farmers, it can be used in let's say improving the nutrition profile by making healthier food available at a more affordable cost. यहाँ भी even within subheadings you can have different fields. Advantages may be different fields. Challenges, then you have what the achievements, what has India done. You have a way forward. You don't have one answer, you have 4 or 5 different subheadings in your answer, because you're covering a lot of width and you're going not going at all deep. It's just about width. It's always about breadth over depth. You're not doing a PhD here, you're just going as wide as you can. Again, try to add value in your answers. For example, there's a question on Gandhara this year. Like I didn't know a lot about Gandhara. Especially not about Persian features which they asked. So I drew a map and I pointed where Gandhara is on that map. It's a valuable addition. It makes my answer better. It fills space. It looks like I have a real idea what I'm talking about. And I gave a nice heading, like introduction, like Buddha was depicted among the first times in human form in Gandhara around these many thousand years ago. So you'll get questions on international relations. यहाँ भी world map is your friend. 250 words is not easy to fill up, especially if you know how to actually write an answer, which is how it should be. Short, concise words. Then you'll find 250 words. Bharna is not easy. Isme maps are your friends. In India's map, international map, learn to draw it in 30 to 60 seconds. It's not hard. It takes only half an hour. I did it one day when I was bored. You can do it in 1 hour. A quick sketch. You're not a Leonardo da Vinci. You don't need to draw perfectly. You just need to add value to your answers. Again, this multiple structures holds true in GS. It holds true in essay. You'll never focus on one particular topic in your answer or in your essay. Always go wide. And don't expect Rata-Rataya frameworks can be applied everywhere. Look at some of the questions in GS2, GS3 this year. खतरनाक क्वेश्चन पैराग्राफ की भर के, एंड फ्रैंकली उस एग्जाम में कुछ पढ़ने नहीं पड़ता क्योंकि यू डोंट हैव एनफ टाइम टू इवन रीड दैट क्वेश्चन अगेन, एंड उसके लिए स्ट्रक्चर बनाना इज वेरी हार्ड, बट you still need to go for as many dimensions as you can. Find some words in that question that you can expand on. Don't just write the same thing, same field, not just advantages or not just disadvantages. Try to write everything and try to write it as concisely as you can. Then I'll come to the interview. Like I said, interview is about selling yourself, in the sense you need to get the board to take an interest in you. If you think that you can just be the same exact steps that everyone is told, say the same handshake, the same chair pull, the same smiles, the same answers, ready-made answers, diversity of I want to come here for diversity and service. You can do that. There's no harm. You might get good marks, or you might just get average marks, because after all, you're giving an average answer. You shouldn't expect that you'll get extraordinary marks for doing the same thing everyone does. For this, I'd say you need to know yourself, and I can't tell you about yourself. I can't tell you why you want to join IAS. I can't tell you about your background. You need to think for yourself, and it all comes down to the same thing. You need to be able to think. You can't just rely on someone else to tell you what you should be doing. And the main reason for that is that there's so much useless information, misinformation, that if you just follow someone, you're 99% going to pick the wrong advice, and you're going to regret it, because you'll waste years of your life when you didn't have to if you thought of it yourself. I'll stop here. I think I've spoken longer than I intended to. I'll say once again, for those who were looking for a test series, who like me weren't sure of so many options in the market, I can tell you that I took Forum IAS MGP test series, and I don't have any complaints, honestly. So I would recommend it if you're not sure of a test series for yourself. Thank you.